Hello everyone. So in this video, I'll be saying about a simple framework that I like to think through things in life. So when you are finding something that is hard or when something is difficult, and oftentimes you might say that, or it might be a situation where you might find it cannot be done, and you might say to yourself, like if you're not already saying this and you're actually great, that's actually a great thing. But some people might say something like, I can't do this, or this is just hard, or this is very challenging or something like that. So this framework is simply instead of telling sentences like I cannot do or this is not possible or this cannot be done, instead of saying something like that, we need to turn the statements into questions by adding a how or making the statement itself a question. So instead of telling I cannot do this, you can ask yourself how can I do this? So that approach would make a big difference. It, while you're saying in fact, telling the same thing, but it would make a big difference in how you're approaching the situation. So, when you're saying a sentence, you're just closing it and you're saying, like, that's it, there's nothing more to discuss about this. But when you're changing that into a question, you're asking yourself some question and your brain has to respond to it. So, when you're asking the same thing as a question, you're thinking about how can this be done. So, similar to situations, so instead of saying this cannot be done or this is not possible, say how is this possible or when is this possible. So try asking questions instead of just saying declaring sentences. You ask yourself questions so that now you have to answer about why it is not something that it can be done. So why is it not something that can be done? So that is one important framework or that is one approach. So the framework actually comes now. So okay, now you're asking questions and you want to know okay, so why is this? How can I do this? So when you're asking such questions, an important way or a good way to find the solutions is first you need to understand what is that single thing that is making this not possible. Or in other words, you need to find what should be true for this to be possible. So currently something is not true so that it seems like it cannot be done. But what should be true for this to be done or what should be true so that this can be done? So you need to ask yourself questions in that angle. And you need to kind of think about in that angle. So when it is true, then it might be true. So and you think in that way, and you need to kind of think, okay, so because of this, this is currently a thing, and if that other thing is true, then this might be possible. So like that, you need to think through those things, and now you can find the next question is how can you make that thing true? So since that thing is false, the first thing is not possible. Now the next question is how do you make that thing true, or when are the situations that other thing is true, and you can just keep asking questions towards it, and you can be like, okay, now the next thing is how can I make that thing possible, and again you can find another thing that is like that is not true because of something else. So it just keeps on going. So it helps to think about things that happen around you and it helps in self introspection. So especially in things where you feel like this cannot be done or I don't know why I can't do this, so this takes more effort or something like that. And when you speak to yourself, speak in these angles instead of just declaring sentences to yourself because your brain is it listens to yourself more than other things because what matters is what you think about the situation. So most of the times the things around you is not in your control, but how you take it is absolutely in your control. It is like if something happens around you, you can decide about how you're taking that. It can be the same thing, but different people takes in different situations. It's the same situation, but if there are 100 people in the situation can be seen in 100 different ways. So it always depends upon you about how you're taking situation. And this approach of asking questions instead of statements about saying like instead of saying I cannot do this, ask how can I do this, or and after that when you're asking the questions you can also ask what should be true so that I can do this, and after that you find if you after that when you find that thing that should be true and you can just keep asking same question again. You can ask when is that other thing true so that this can be done, and you can just keep asking questions and yeah you can just answer those questions and it will be an interesting thing. So yeah, it helps you be more aware about the situations and you can understand yourself better. And yeah, that would be a good one. So that is the thing that I want to say in this video. I thought it would be very helpful. So instead of saying statements, you ask questions about the same thing, like to convert the statement declaration into a question. Your brain is forced to think about how this can be solved, and you can improve the situation. So that is about the thing. So that is what I want to record in this video. So I thought this would be helpful for you. So hopefully you found something. Hopefully you found this video helpful and you found this thing valuable. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.